Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to crack open sources and really pull out those hidden gems of insight you might not expect.
Mhm.
And today we're embarking on a deep dive into a text that, honestly, for many might seem incredibly straightforward, maybe even, well, a bit dry.
Yeah, I can see that.
We're talking about excerpts from ancient scripture,
Hmm.
specifically Genesis 5, verses 5 through 10.
Right.
It really does read like a list,
Right.
a genealogy, names, and numbers. So the challenge is, how do we take something that looks like just a record
Yeah.
and find something profound in it?
But that's exactly the mission today, isn't it? We're going to guide you through these few verses to try and unearth what's really significant, not just what's sitting on the surface.
Okay.
Our goal is to pull out those, let's say, crucial nuggets of knowledge, those insights that are just so easy to overlook if you're just skimming through.
All right, let's unpack this then. Our journey starts with verse 5. This brings us to the end of Adam's earthly story. Altogether, Adam lived a total of 930 years, and then he died. And this marks the first recorded human death. It's quite a sobering punctuation point right there at the dawn of humanity.
It really is. And what's truly striking here, I think, is how it serves as this stark reminder. Even the first man, created directly in God's image, he couldn't escape the consequences of what theologians call the fall.
Right, that initial act of disobedience.
Exactly. The act that introduced sin and, crucially, mortality into the world. So this moment, happening so early in the narrative, it just powerfully sets the stage for the whole human story that follows. A story forever marked by life and its inevitable end.
Okay, so from Adam, the narrative thread moves on to Seth. Verse 6 states, when Seth had lived 105 years, he became the father of Enosh. And just a reminder for everyone, Seth was born to Adam and Eve after Abel's tragic death.
Right. And that naturally leads us to think about Seth's lineage. It's often interpreted, as the line that carries forward that promise of hope, especially in these very early chapters of Genesis. But here's where it gets really fascinating, I find. The name Enosh itself, it's incredibly significant.
Oh, how so?
Well, it literally means mortal or just simply man. Now think about that for a second. Naming your son mortal
Wow, yeah.
in a lineage that's meant to show God's ongoing purposeful creation. It's like this quiet, embedded theological statement right there in the name. It acknowledges human frailty, but at the same time, there's this persistent hope.
That is fascinating. And then verse 7 gives us more detail about Seth's, incredible longevity. After he became the father of Enosh, Seth lived 807 years and had other sons and daughters.
Yeah.
These huge lifespans, they always spark curiosity, don't they? 900 years. I can barely plan next week.
Right. It's almost incomprehensible.
It really puts our whole idea of longevity into perspective. And whether scholars see these numbers as literal or maybe symbolic,
Sure, there's debate there.
they definitely point to a very different era in human history, don't they? One that's, closer to the very beginning of creation.
Absolutely a different time. And then verse 8 brings us right back to that persistent rhythm we mentioned. Altogether, Seth lived a total of 912 years, and then he died.
Yeah.
There's a clear, almost relentless pattern emerging here, isn't there? Birth, life, having children, continuing the family, and then death. It's a foundational truth just woven right into the fabric of these verses.
It really is like a consistent drumbeat throughout this chapter. It doesn't matter how long you live, 900 years or 90 years. The end is a shared certainty for everyone.
Exactly.
It's such a powerful reminder of mortality, yes, but maybe also a quiet challenge. Like, what do we actually do with the time we are given?
That's a great point. What meaning do we bring to those years?
Yeah.
And then the chain just keeps going. Verse 9, we read, when Enosh had lived 90 years, he became the father of Kenan.
Okay.
And verse 10 adds, after he became the father of Kenan, Enosh lived 815 years and had other sons and daughters. And so the genealogy just relentlessly moves forward, generation after generation.
This succession, this sort of steady march through the generations, it makes me wonder about the bigger picture here. What about the theme of legacy?
That's precisely it. You've hit on a key theme. Each generation isn't just, reproducing biologically. They're passing on life, sure, but also faith, story to the next. It forms this kind of unbroken chain.
Ah.
It's really an understated testament to continuity, to purpose, even within what looks like a very stark list of births and deaths.
What's so compelling, I think, is that even though these verses are so short and they seem repetitive,
They do.
they are actually telling a much grander story underneath. They remind us that every single life holds significance, doesn't it? even if it's just a name in a long list.
Absolutely. Okay.
Each person is like a vital thread in this unfolding tapestry, and each generation, well, it has an indispensable role to play.
And if we just step back for a second, there's another crucial detail. It comes from Genesis 4, verse 26, actually, but it sheds light here. It mentions that during Enosh's time, remember, the one named mortal, during his time, people began to call on the name of the Lord.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's profoundly significant, isn't it? It points towards a spiritual awakening, a sort of turning towards the divine, happening right there in the middle of ordinary life.
Births, deaths, long years.
Exactly. This simple act of living. It's like this powerful whisper that God is always at work, even in the background, quietly shaping human history.
So these genealogies, which can seem so dry on the surface, they're not just records, they're actually kind of pulsing with hope and purpose.
Absolutely. That's a great way to put it. And this echoes a theme you see all through Scripture, really. God's promises endure. They continue, unwavering, even through all the ups and downs, the ebb and flow of human history.
So let's bring this home for our listener. Thinking about this deep dive, what does it all mean for you personally? As you reflect on just these few verses, what core themes are really standing out?
Well, for me, one powerful idea is definitely that of legacy. Sort of challenges us, doesn't it? To consider, what are we genuinely passing on? Not just in our immediate families, maybe, but in our wider communities, in our shared values, our faith. What's the inheritance we're leaving?
That's a great question. And how about the value of every single life? Even the ones that might seem small or ordinary or maybe easily forgotten in the grand sweep of history.
Yeah.
How can we honor the stories of those who came before us? Those who are part of our own lineage, whether that's by blood or, by shared experience.
And maybe that leads to another important question for personal reflection. Where do you see God at work in the ordinary parts of your life, the everyday stuff? How can you consciously be part of his bigger unfolding story, even in the things that feel, well, mundane sometimes?
That's really something to think about. And as we bring this deep dive to a close, maybe here's a final thought to ponder. What seemingly simple record, or even just a mundane routine in your own life, what might that hold? Could there be a profound unfolding story there? Or maybe even a divine pattern that's just easy to miss unless you take the time for that deeper look.
Worth considering.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. We really encourage you to keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep finding that extraordinary meaning, often in the most unexpected places.